So I started taking potassium chloride as a salt substitute. This is what's happened. Hey, what's shaking bacon? I hope you're doing well. So I've been doing this high-fat version of carnivore for a while, and I've since been going to intermittent water fasting. So I've been doing this water fasting with electrolytes, and one of the electrolytes I'm using in this is potassium chloride. So when it comes to potassium, you usually only want to get so much in a day. So I've started doing something in my videos, as most of the people know who watch my videos. Lately, I've taken the ad out of the center of my videos and I've shortened my videos so it's a little easier for you guys to digest as well. In return, I would like it if you would like, comment, and subscribe on my videos so that it helps the YouTube algorithm. It helps to offset the fact that I've taken the commercial out of my video. Thanks a lot. So I get about 5,000 milligrams in a day. I think the recommended allowance is something like 4,700. Now, your body typically gets cramps from not having enough potassium. When your body runs out of fuel, this is the way minerals typically work. When your body runs out of fuel to do a job, say you go for a jog, you start getting cramping in your ribs or something like that, and you're like, and you're getting these cramps and you're moving around. Well, what's happening is your body needs fuel. It's out of fuel. Maybe it's not getting enough oxygen, but more likely the potassium, the mineral sources sort of run up. Most people don't get enough potassium. And when you get a cramp, that's typically what's triggering cramps, is a lack of potassium. So when you get cramps after workouts and you're prone to cramps, that's more of a magnesium problem. So keep that in mind. It's a mineral issue. It could be one of many different minerals. Often, I believe it's a potassium chloride issue. So I've been taking potassium chloride and I noticed some good coincidences. Whenever I was doing fat fasting, I was still getting about 2,500 to 3,000 calories in a day. I was always dealing with cramps. By the end of the first day, even though I was salting my food with good quality salt, I was still getting bad leg cramps. By the end of the second day, I was getting cramps everywhere in my body. My back, my ribs, breathing, my neck. I'd yawn and then get a cramp in my neck and I was like, oh, and I was stuck in this awkward, horrible pain. They were getting so bad, not just in frequency, but intensity. By day 3, I had to stop. I could never get into a third day fat fast because the cramping was so bad. And I thought, okay, I'm getting my electrolytes through sodium and I'm making sure to not drink too much. And I had played around with my water intake in case I needed more water or less water, because I find on a carnivore diet, we need a little less water because we don't have carbohydrates in our body, and carbohydrates hydrate our cells. But the one thing I've noticed is over the years since I figured that out, my cramping has gone away, just lowering my water intake even more. And not just the volume of water, I can still drink a lot of water in a day. I just find I can't drink too much all at once. And I was one of those guys that was often having 3, 4, 5 liters of water in a day, but I would guzzle it. I would take the water and I was like, and it was just too much. So I found that I was overhydrating. I was flushing the minerals out. So first of all, make sure that you're not flushing your minerals out by drinking too much water, not just in a day, but all at one period. Space it out a little bit better. Have smaller portions of water more frequently through the day. And you'll find out what your sweet spot is. I found out what mine was, and it managed my cramps really well. But I was still getting cramping whenever I'd go to a high-fat carnivore diet. And I was like, why? I was already trying a moderate protein diet, even low protein diet, and I wasn't getting any cramping. So I'd reintroduce some protein and the cramping would go away. Well, there's minerals in red meat, as you well know, and potassium chloride seems to do really well for me. So even though I haven't been fat fasting and I've been doing some water fasts, the potassium chloride has made it possible for me to do these water fasts. There's no reason why I should be getting cramps on a fat fast and not a water fast with electrolyte water. So clearly the potassium chloride is the only change in the mix. I was still getting pink Himalayan sea salt, Redmond sea salt every day. So that shouldn't have been too much of the issue, but the potassium chloride seems to have made a dramatic effect. And there's a product I got called New Salt. That's NU salt. In the States, No Salt is a product that you can get. Just start putting that on your meals as well as salt. It's gonna not have the same flavor, but it does the job when it comes to cramps. You can even just put a pinch on your tongue or mix some in with water, make it a daily thing, and see if you start to notice a difference. You already get potassium in your meat. I understand that, but some people might not be getting enough, and maybe they need to just increase that. So I'm a big fan of that. If you have troubles with leg cramps or any other issues, and maybe you're not getting enough potassium in your day, make sure you're trying to get this about exercising when you start getting cramping. And the interesting thing is my body always wants to adapt like any body does. So when I go, and it's been a while since I've done, say, a workout, and I go to do leg curls, I'll always deal with cramps the first 3 to 4 workouts whenever I do leg curls. I'll get in the machine and I have to start off really light, ridiculously light, and just let my body go through the range of motion for the whole first set. And then I can start pushing the weight a little bit more and more and more. If I go into it and just push half the weight I can normally do, say 80 pounds or 60 pounds, I end up getting horrible leg cramps, and then I'm stuck with leg cramps because the muscle's sort of out of whack for the next 12 hours to a day, and I'm prone to getting leg cramps after that. But when I make that a part of my regular routine, my body adapts and the leg cramps typically go away. So this is also a circulation issue. And one thing I do with that is to help manage that at night when people are prone to leg cramps is I'll put a blanket over my legs, just my lower body, to help keep more warmth down there. It's a type of hydrotherapy, just using hot and cold to manipulate the body. You don't always have to do it with water, even though that's the definition of hydrotherapy, but our blood is highly made up of water. So it's another way of manipulating the water in our body through just using heat. Whether it's heat on your feet or more comfortably, just a blanket over your legs, it's the easiest thing to do. That seems to work by keeping my legs a little bit warmer, keeping the circulation down there. It tends to help me whenever I start getting prone to any leg cramps if I find I didn't drink enough water in a day or if I drank too much. So don't take my word for it. I want you to Google how much potassium you're supposed to get in a day. Look as well how much your food intake is in a day, and stop and look to see if you're getting enough potassium. And if you're not, maybe you might want to look into the benefits of potassium and do a Google search on that. Do your own research. Don't take my word for it. And make sure you're getting the right type of potassium, or maybe something as simple as this where it's a powdered potassium that you can easily put on your food, because quite frankly, sometimes that's easier than carrying pills around with you, right? So when I go to Five Guys, I'll spread some on my burgers. No extra work, and it's easy to manage because the container I got looked a lot bigger on the internet. It was only like this big. It was pretty funny. But you know what? That'll last me for probably about a month. I'm using it in my electrolyte drink whenever I do these rolling saltwater fasts. And I was worried I'd be dealing with cramping even though I was taking this. And you know what? It hasn't been an issue. My body always adjusts for a day or two going on or off a mineral supplement of any kind, whether it's pills or something like a snake juice or anything else like that. But for the most part, when I go off of it, that's typically when the cramping comes back. And it hasn't been an issue so far. So I'm going to keep this up. I really like the way I feel taking this. Anyway, I hope you found this information helpful. And like I said before, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Take care, and I hope you have a great day.